second panel discussion for this first Web3 Stronger Together virtual summit. Thanks for being there. I'm really glad to host our speakers today. I'm sure they will bring a really interesting point of view, share their experience. Without spending too much time on this introduction, we will talk about the Metaverse, a new era of marketing and advertising. I also have some experience in the domain. I was in the advertising industry. It was my first business 28 years ago now. Let's start by, could you introduce yourself?
I can go first. Oh no, bye. Okay, sorry.
Bye.
Oh, okay,
Hey,
sure.
very good, very good.
Thank you. I will go first. Hello, everyone. My name is Bei Wang. You can just call me Bei. Greetings from the Netherlands. I'm the co-founder and currently the CMO of StraightFire. With StraightFire, we actually have two components. One is StraightFire Space, from where we developed the world's first NFT social dApp, which is still in the beta version. Next to that, we are also a creative studio because all the co-founders, including myself, we have a background in creative industry. So through StraightFire Studio, we call ourselves we like to call ourselves the explorer of the metaverse, and we like to also address that we tell stories in 3D worlds, characters, and experiences. Besides StraightFire, I'm also a university teacher and researcher focusing on creative industry. So yeah, passionate about Web3 because we are all for creator-driven and creator economy. So yeah, looking forward to this exciting discussion with you guys.
Thank you, Wei. Who's the next? Luis?
Sure.
Welcome.
Hi all. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you all for being here. I'm really looking forward to the discussion. So, well, my name is Luis. I have been working for more than 20 years in the intersection of marketing and technology. So I was fortunate enough to see the first iteration of the internet, and I'm really happy to be here alongside with so many people that are looking towards the third iteration of the internet, and with so many others listening to us. At this time, I am Chief Marketing Officer at KitAR, which is an industrial augmented reality platform. Last year, I spent most of my, let's say, free time or my nights burning the midnight oil, writing this book. It's called Metaverse, See Beyond the Hype. And
Congrats.
yes, thank you. And it was launched like beginning of this month, and it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And what we talk about, or what we tried with this book, me and my co-author, Samantha G. Wolf, was to bring the discussion of the metaverse to everyone outside our bubble. So that's one of the main purposes that I had or that we had with the book, and I really hope that everyone that is listening that is not inside the Web3, the XR, the metaverse space can actually give it a go. And let me know also what you thought. Besides that, I also collaborate with associations like XR Safety Initiative, and I also would like to ask everyone in the audience if they want to know a bit more about safety and privacy in the metaverse, to also explore that organization. And I think I went well beyond my my time, but thank you anyway.
Thanks to you. Welcome, Adil. Jacek.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm a connector by Gallup. My name is Jacek Studziński, and I'm a chief communications officer for AdShares. And AdShares is the blockchain technology created especially for advertising, specifically for advertising, looking at all the ailments of advertising, at all the benefits of decentralized and distributed ledger technology, how it can bring transparency, fairness, how it can bring the consumer into the advertising equation, where you can actually own a piece of the advertising system. So that's it. Apart from that, I am looking for patterns. So I'm already excited to hear that you, Laurent, you have 28 years of experience in advertising, because I spent 23 years in branding, advertising, communication, creative boutiques and agencies. So and that made me. And the last year, I just like Luis, I spent my days, nights, and weekends studying Web3, the Metaverse, and just like you, trying to bring this new world to my audiences. Acting out, presenting during different conferences, and actually exploring the metaverses myself. So yes, I'm looking forward to speaking with experienced, senior, like-minded people. Lovely to see you all, and I hope the audience will enjoy it too.
Thanks to you, Charmaine.
Hi, thanks for having me here. I've been in Web3 since 2019, and my company Metaverse provides consultancy on Web3, blockchain education, NFT marketing strategies for startups or brands, and we help onboard people to blockchain technology, including the Metaverse. So I've created various NFT galleries in the spatial metaverse, where creators can showcase their work for buyers. And I've also written a white paper on diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility in the metaverse, because there are a lot of people out there. For example, there's 1.2 billion people with disabilities in the world, and Web 2 applications are not really meeting their needs. So that's where I'm coming at it from.
Thanks to you. It's really important what you just said, because it's Web3 Stronger Together. It's all about inclusivity, diversity, and trying to onboard each one and everyone, everywhere. Without letting some people on the side, as we have seen with the previous, let's say, web iteration. I hope we will be able to really give a chance to each one to join now and not in a few years, so they will get equal chance to onboard and experiment. Welcome, Adil. Could you quickly introduce yourself and tell us why you are involved in Web3, and welcome.
Thank you.
First.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you all. So my name is Hadil Arja. I'm a journalist with more than 17 years of experience, co-founder of Frontline in Focus XR, a winner of Google News Initiatives 2021. Frontline in Focus is an independent news agency that uses VR and AR to deliver human interest stories from conflict zones. So being here with you to talk more about how can we use Metaverse to deliver stories, ongoing stories from conflict zones that people feel that it's normal to read or to hear, how to use Metaverse in this kind of stories. So nice to meet you all. I'm so happy to share our experience with you and to hear from the expert ones, of course.
Thanks to you. So let's now dive in the discussion for which we are all here. I mean, the metaverse, a new era of marketing and advertising. We want to start to maybe simply define what is your vision or definition of metaverse. Is it what we can currently experiment, or do you see something else? Personally, when I'm on stage as a speaker to talk about the metaverse, I often say that for me, it's the prehistoric time of the metaverse. We are far away from what it will be. It will be, I think, at least for a decade, a period of experimentation till we find really what will match with real use case, and being able to deliver a tangible value for each human on Earth, and facilitating their onboarding. We want to start and explain how it will change, disrupt, transform, maybe create new way to create, to communicate and market.
I can start.
Welcome.
So metaverse, in my opinion, it's a new way of thinking, of a new way of producing products, because today, if we are going to say 10 years ago, who can say that printed newspaper, it will disappear and we will have our news by online digital platform. So I think metaverse, it's a new way of thinking, of new way of producing stories, of create this kind of interacting with the audience, because today we need to speak the new generation language, because when you produce a VR story, you know that you are delivering these stories to new generation, that they are familiar with VR headset, they are familiar with the AR, they know how to scan the QR code, and they can be in the middle of the events. And I think, and all of us, we are trying to reach this point to create something, this product, it should create this impact, because when you create this impact, you will create an action after this product. And metaverse allows us to use these tools and to create something different, something more to reach audience, a new audience, a new generation. And I'm not an expert in metaverse, as we don't know how to create an application, but we know that there are a lot of applications we can use them in our industry, in media industry. For example, if we are working on a normal documentary, it's we use the normal cameras, but when you use this kind of promotion by using 360 VR, you will be sure that you have this impact, because people, they feel that they are in the middle of the event, they know what is really happening there, they feel it, and they can see the fear of people. Today we are talking about the earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria. Yeah, everyone talking about it, but what about you can put on your VR headset and you can see the fear in the ground. You can feel you can see that the building are destroyed. So the interaction, it will be much different. So I think it's an amazing world. We really need to invest more in it.
May I tune in? Yeah, because I also teach at school, at the university. So actually, I have a lot of discussion with those very young students. And I think at the same time, because I'm also a researcher, so I tend to kind of like dive into different narratives. There is a lot of different definition or explanation in the last year, 2 years in the media. Some of them are focusing really on specific area, I think, based on which party or which stakeholder is talking about it. My personal favorite is quite simple. I use that also in one of the school session. This is not from me, from us, but it's from somewhere in the narrative. One of my favorites, Metaverse, it's a network of 3D virtual worlds focused on social connection. And I think there's a lot of discussion often focusing on the application technology part. But I think more and more we see all these cases. For example, some companies build a platform, but it turned out to be a failure, or some big organizations wants to create this virtual world and says this is the metaverse, but attract very little people, a few amount of people in it. And I think we keep forgetting about asking why. Why do we need to enter this world? So I think the social connection part is really important. When we started our studio, we made also a kind of like our way of vision of the metaverse from Straight Fire, and we like to kind of see this also as our North Star. So we kind of like see it. I agree with you just now, saying this is a new way of thinking, but we also think it is a new kind of ecosystem. But the emphasis should lie on the decentralized and creator-driven aspect. And of course, in the end, we also need to think about, is this a ecosystem that kind of like make sure that humanity and technology coexist? Because I think I heard some introduction you mentioned about the data privacy, or maybe like this potential risk. So that's why I think, it's the definition is how our visualize it. And in the end, I think we should really see metaverse as a place that humanity and technology coexist in a symbiotic relationship. Because in the end, if it's completely disconnected from humanity, and I guess that then it loses its sole purpose. So this is
And I would guess it will lose in the end.
yes.
I'd like to chip in with because there is something when I think about the metaverse, I love thinking what it isn't, because as we know, I like when somebody argues what the metaverse is. I love the example of the Venice Carnival. You put on your mask, you become an avatar, you do something else. The world becomes something of a parallel. But can we call the carnival a metaverse, right? So I totally agree with you, Bay, that it's a constellation of worlds where you interact with other people. But for me, personally, the core difference between a metaverse and a virtual world like Roblox or Minecraft is, like you said, the ownership, but also the economic aspect, the ownership and exchange and the creator economy. And I just wanted to mention to Adil that I just saw the Syrian earthquake, and I fully support. When we heard it, we just reached out to all our friends in Turkey, wherever we have them, extending our sympathies and support. But when I saw the 360 scene in your system, that makes an impact and it makes a difference. And I think this is what the metaverse is all about: the experience, almost on your skin, in your system. It's not just reading about something or arguing with somebody on Facebook whom you don't see. You don't know their emotions. You don't know their personality, their history. And I think I agree with you. It's a new way of thinking. And the main difference is that Web 2 was more about me and my expression, and Web 3 is all about us. It's all around.
Yeah.
Respect for you for calling it Stronger Together, because that's what we are.
Thanks to you. Charmaine?
Yeah, so I totally agree with what everyone's saying. When it comes to sort of content in sort of advertising, brands, think they're being innovative and on trend if they're sort of creating sort of these experiences where people can be immersive. And as somebody said about the younger generation, so Walmart created this Walmart Land, which was fun for kids. And there was no selling as such in there. It was just games and an immersive experience. You could have your friends in there and have a nice time. But at a deeper sort of subconscious level, people will be brand loyal to that supermarket now because they had such a great time and because it touched a part of them, and it would make food shopping fun or whatever. So there's lots of clever ways that having a storefront in a metaverse can attract a new audience. Normally like children wouldn't want to go food shopping with their parents, it's boring. But now they'll look forward to going somewhere like Walmart. And it's just a shift in the way everybody needs to think. So we don't want to read lots of static text and adverts. I mean, these days everybody says, oh, too long, don't read. You can't hold anyone's attention with writing words down. You have to get people into an experience where they can just let loose, be themselves, and be free.
What I really appreciate it, you all guys talk about experience and emotion, and this coexistence with innovation, technology, and humans. I say it and repeat it constantly. For me, Web3, all innovation, it's first human, building, delivering for humans. And it's also one of the main goals of Web3 Stronger Together to put human on the scene rather than the technology first. Thanks, Chairman. Luis?
Yeah. So first, talking a bit about your question or answering your question, and then going into some of the topics that were already approached. So regarding the metaverse and what it is, our definition in the book follows a bit of Tony Parisi's lead that the metaverse is the next stage of the internet. So we do believe that there's been a convergence happening for like at least 30 years, and this technological convergence is right now accelerating because we have more and more and more technologies that are transformative, and they are again like mashing up together, and we will eventually reach a moment in time where we'll have a persistent, real-time, spatialized internet where we will be able to interact with digital the same way that we interact with the physical part of our lives, and where we will take all the digital elements all out of screens and allow us to much more informally, much more easily to interact with these elements in our own physical world or in millions or infinite digital worlds that might be also on screens or in VR headsets. So clearly, we're talking about a mashup of blockchain. We're talking about a mashup of XR, of AI, of IoT, of many different technologies, quantum computing, others that are right now are not here yet, but that in 10 to 15 years will be, and hopefully that's where we're going. That's why I separate like what we have right now, which are like several technologies, several elements of this future metaverse with which we are interacting from this vision of what the next iteration of the internet will be. So regarding the approach on the marketing side, clearly today we're seeing a lot of things happening due to these core, let's say, structure elements of the metaverse evolving. Like, for instance, right now, if you talk to a student starting, a design student or marketing student starting his course in September, he would not know the first thing about AI or generative AI. If you talk to a student starting a course this September, if he does not have generative AI in his curriculum or in his course curriculum, yes, that course is obsolete. So that's the speed at which we are running right now, right? ChatGPT changed a lot of industries, but for sure changed how we perceive storytelling, how we perceive copy editing, copywriting. It's crazy, right? So suddenly, what we have are a lot of elements being from AI, from blockchain, from XR that are coming together. Now, we need, as marketing professionals, and I'm going to drop this replying directly to the several references and several comments that were made regarding we need to keep this human. So we need to take into account that the metaverse, first of all, is all about data. That's why the big players are there. They want to extract data. They want to have our data. Like, for instance, Berkeley, I think it was a study from Berkeley U last week. They uniquely identified 96% of 50,000 users just by tracking 3 points like eye tracking and two hands, right? Uniquely, like they knew the names of those guys, right? That had that session. So again, privacy, safety, user data, uh, which relates to self-sovereign identity, which relates to data sovereignty, all of that, it's clearly something that relates to marketers, marketing professionals, they in the metaverse, because that's going to affect us clearly. And we're right now building, so we have a say on that, but that clearly is something that I would love to know your thoughts about this topic. And the second one is regarding like all the major elements that right now are popping up to which in each one of these technologies that do help marketing, but at the same time, um, they are not being in any way regulated, but at the same time, they are being uh, well, I would like to hear your thoughts about how ethical they are. Namely, for instance, um, having like again avatars. Sorry, not avatars, but the digital beings, for instance, having the possibility of having conversational AIs participating in like in a talk right next to us, and they might be like, for instance, talking a bit about how this wonderful service, this club, for instance, in this virtual world is great. Maybe someone passes by and hears what they say, and they say, "Wow, I'm going to try that because it sounds like by what they're saying that it's going to be great." They're not acknowledging, they're not aware that they just heard a talk between two AIs, right? So identifying artificial entities is not even something that right now is happening, right? So how this is just yet again yet another thing that I would like to drop and to hear the thoughts of all the panel speakers, because again I think that's the way that we have that's a path that we have to undergo in order to keep it human.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luis. Someone want to interact?
I'm eager to, because
Yeah.
when you mentioned the word ethical, Luis, I started burning because I just had an actual chat with GPT about that, and Chat GPT returned an answer that it all depends on actually the marketers, as in human marketer, intention of using the data. And for years now, we have seen marketers just trying to use the data. And I specifically asked GPT this question. So is marketing and human interest opposite? Because the data is used to track, to sell more and sell faster, right? And sell for more. And at the same time, humanity is all about common sense and knowing that we don't convert, we don't change partners, lives, apartments, cars, overnight just because of data. And to me, this is I so like this because we are in the middle of uncanny valley. I feel like exactly down the middle, because on one hand, I'm not a true believer in privacy, which might be very unpopular opinion. I totally believe in GDPR and protecting people's names and data. But privacy, those people who pretend to defend privacy don't really do anything interesting or illegal. So it's more theoretical. But yeah, to the point, connecting the data which can be used, its data is agnostic. I don't know if you will agree, but it's just there. But the intent of the person using it for the benefit of their audience or for the benefit of their accounting department, that's the main difference. And we have seen economy driven by just the accounting departments. I see you smile, so I'll stop here.
No, that's exactly it. The issue has to do, but at the same time, we as marketing professionals are going to be the guys responsible for bringing the metaverse to the hands of people. So we are the guys that are most probably going to influence people's first experiences, first impressions of these platforms that we are building, right? So that's why it's so important for us to take a responsible stance, to take a responsible position. And that's why I think it's so important also for not just us to say, okay, so the users need to educate themselves. They need to know why the data is going to be used. No, we also need to like take a responsible stance on our side and do what we really want to do in order for us to keep it human. Or else what we're just doing actually is trying to make a quick buck, and that's it, and and it's all good. No, it's not, because again, we're not keeping it human. So the topic about like walking the talk, I think it's really really important at this time. And again, like for instance, sorry, just another quick one, XR, augmenting, like for instance right now I can in my office I can like put in here like an augmented uh, dispenser of I don't know, maybe alcohol, like beer. I can like put it here, and maybe I can like order beer or drugs from the Netherlands. I'm speaking from Lisbon, and I can put it here. But the same way, I can put it like in schools. I can put it in like churches. I can augment pharmacies. I can augment anywhere, right? And that experience will be shown by to me inside that specific context. My memory of that experience will be in that context. So again, how can that work, right? Again, sorry for.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
I'd like to come in here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, this is really fascinating. Talking about ethics. So we haven't managed to agree on a common set of ethical standards for Web 2 in the past. So it's very challenging to come up with that for Web 3. So I'm a member of the Metaverse Standards Forum, which is leading the way in helping organisations to cooperate and develop interoperability standards for a sort of more open and inclusive metaverse. And it includes members from like lots of different metaverse standards groups as a consortium. And it brings me on to, the moral issues like bullying and toxicity. And so we'd like to think that the metaverse is different from the real world, a place where open and public space for people to push for human rights, to make the entire space safe for everyone. But that's not the case. And it's challenging to stop trolls bullying people online. And there's a call in some places for action for the metaverse police. So it would be very expensive to police a virtual world. So we need to find a way for the metaverse to police itself. So there's a few things we can do to try and protect users. Now, at the moment, we're reasonably good at creating safe spaces for children online. But we need to expand that to other targeted groups. And it could be things like allowing users to set permissions, deciding whether they want users from other groups to see or interact with their avatar, their data. You might have to set up a friends list. Avatars could create a safe area, say a meter around them where people couldn't sort of inappropriately sort of touch or push their avatar. And we've mentioned artificial intelligence. So there are tools to detect toxicity in speech. If someone is being abusive to you online, and you can report whoever the aggressor is. There's some interesting thoughts on how to deal with people who break the rules in the metaverse. We could give offenders timeouts, we could mute them, we could ban them from that metaverse area where the breach occurred. We could liquidate their avatar, we could withhold rewards from their wallet. You know,
Right.
there's all sorts of ways that we can police it to encourage good behaviour.
Thank you, Charmaine, for
Yeah,
mentioning this
they,
because, sorry, yeah, we are
yeah,
also part of the member of the forum, and but actually, I myself has also a background in the journalism and communication, and actually, I want to raise something here is that I fully agree with what Charmaine just mentioned. We, we haven't really have this global charter or regulator of Web 2 because currently there is this complexity. Done a lot of work in development of digital China, because as we all know, China has a completely different digital ecosystem, and that is creating also another layer of complexity. And then sometimes if we discuss about the data, like the privacy, I think globally you have like three big approach: the American approach, European approach, and Chinese approach. And then of course at the same time we see also a rise of different regions, like sometimes we use the term global south. So I think I noticed that sometimes in Europe, now we are all in Europe, I'm also physically in Europe, we discuss a lot of things, but it's almost like we ourselves are also in an information cocoon, because there's a lot of real world challenge in other part of the world. And so sometimes I have this idealistic drive that I feel like, okay, maybe metaverse is an area for this global citizen movement, because what I see in a lot of citizen awareness in a lot of maybe like underrepresented areas, especially I see a lot of projects, Web3 projects from Asia. They are less more for the commercial, but more for example, like civil rights projects. While in different regions, the Web3 project is maybe for the commercial benefits. So it's very interesting to kind of already we think about this, and at the same time it's amazing that you also mentioned about ChatGPT. This happens so fast, and I think last year everyone is talking about metaverse, all the VCs wants to invest something, and now no one talk about
Nobody.
no ChatGPT. But ChatGPT is highly biased because most of
Yes.
the data sets comes from, I think, the West, and then there's also a large part of the world. So the fear here is also technology is widening the gap between
Hmm.
those who have the access and those who
Yeah.
haven't. So I think that's also another thing that, okay, who is taking the lead of shaping the metaverse? So, I mean, our title is like New Era of Marketing and Advertising, but again, marketing and advertising, I think it comes from a completely, like, I would say, propaganda type of ideology. So
I, I, I,
Yeah.
I,
very
I,
interesting that lead to, I
I,
don't know,
I do.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I do agree,
And
and I often mention an essay written more than 100 years ago by Gustave Le Bon, a French philosopher, about mass psychology. And when it's fundamental when you talk about marketing, you understand the psychology of the masses. And when you read it today, it's old French, so it's a bit tricky, but it's so accurate. It is talking about what we are currently facing all together, and it's really fascinating. I would like to also have the point of view of Adil.
Actually, they mentioned a very important point that having the access, in the Middle East, they still have this challenge, the speed of internet. We are talking about people, they even themselves, they can't see their stories because the speed of the internet is so bad. But at the same time, we also, as we are working in conflict zones, we have our consent forms, for example, as part of ethical guideline, we try to explain for them what are we doing and how this thing it will be shown, because they don't have access. Even if you are trying to scan the QR code, it's so slow. They can't, we can't scan it, for example, in areas like Africa, some places in Africa or Syria or Yemen, you can't scan it because it's so slow. So we need to explain to them how we are working on this, and they need to be educated at the same time, because they don't know how to use VR headset. We are at this point in this place, but we believe that this is the future. Even if it's in Europe or USA, it's the present, but in this region, it's the future. We need to work more on this, how to use these tools, how to invest with these tools. As you mentioned, working on ethical guidelines is so important, because we are working on conflict zone. We need to be sure that we are trying to deliver this story in a right way. So I agree with them about this ethics guideline, about the challenges of the internet, the speed of the internet, having access to this metaverse. A lot of people, they don't know what is metaverse about.
Yeah, thanks to you, and to highlighting this real issue, because we can't talk about mass adoption if we don't consider that you just talk about. Guys, we are now already at the end of this panel discussion. Thanks for sharing your thought, your point of view. It's highly inspiring. I'm really glad to see that you all guys are human-centric. Just quickly, a last word to close this panel discussion.
Okay, so I'll go first. If nobody wants,
Okay.
I'll go first, because I have a
Okay.
question, and it might be good for the end, because as I watched, it might be a stretch, but I watched the gaming industry and Twitch, and how sometimes the community itself goes against harassment and goes to defend certain people in that area. So my thesis for the end, we didn't even go to marketing, but my thesis is that humans will keep it human. And my heart wants to believe that every day there will be more people believing in equity, equality, humanity in the internet, and they will just simply speak up when something is wrong. And then the community will speak up, and that we as humanity will just advance, because technology proved that it cannot kill humans. We're still here, and we still think the way we did 100,000 years ago. So
thanks to you. Someone wants, yeah?
I want to chime in, because I love what you just mentioned, because maybe we will in the end change the panel title into the metaverse, a new era of human interaction.
humanity,
Or humanity. I think that will be the best final
just look at
wrap-up.
our interactions here on Telegram, at how we treat each other. It's
Yes.
on us. It's on us, these 500-600 people, to actually build this future.
Thanks to you guys. It was fascinating. I'm really glad and honored one more time. And for me, it's a real brief, real moment of hope to see that there is still a lot of people who consider human first and are not deifying technology at any cost. Thanks a lot for taking part of this first Web3 Stronger Together Summit, and I hope to see you soon. And don't hesitate to give me a sign. I would like to continue to discuss with you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye.
Awesome.